just doesn't want to raise both of them. So I believe that my client is going to be shown to be a very responsible and respectable mother, that the kids love her, that they love one another, that she has shown herself to be a much better primary parent. The children have attended school under her residence by agreement last year, and they did very, very well. So I think that my client is evidence will show that my client is the better primary parent.
All right, thank you, Ms. Mercer. Mr. Smith, looks like we lost you for 1 second there. Are you back with us?
Yes, sir. I'm back. I'm sorry.
All right, thank you. Mr. Smith, you're allowed to give me an opening statement at this time as well, if you'd like to do so. The opening statement is just kind of what you expect the evidence to show. It's not necessarily arguing your case yet. You're going to get an opportunity to do that in a little bit. So if you'd like to give me an opening, you may do so at this time.
Okay. In my case, I'll be showing that that my son personally wants to stay with me. He's over the age of 12. He'll be 13 next month. The reason I did take him this summer is because it was agreed upon that I'll get him June 2nd when I was released from school. I wasn't released on May 28th. It was June 2nd. And when I got him, I had situations with my daughter with her feet being burnt and different stories he's telling me. So I thought it was best that, I keep him here until court, and you guys help figure it out. As far as me wanting my daughter as well, I'll take her as well. But when she was with me, she did say that she missed her little brother. She missed her mom. So not pressured. I my own personal self. I said, let me just take her back and let her be with mom since son wants to stay with me.
All right, thank you, Mr. Smith. All right, Mr. Smith, also, I didn't explain to you this earlier, but Ms. Mercer gets to go first because she requested the hearing first. So they're going to present their case first, and then when she's done calling her witnesses, you're going to be able to call any witnesses that you would like to call, and including yourself, and you can tell me what you'd like to tell me at that time. But we're going to go ahead and start with the movement's first witness. Ms. Mercer, you may call your first witness.
Thank you, Judge. I would like to call at this time Avery Bonham.
Okay. All right, Ms. Bonham, if you would please unmute for me and get your video started. You've been called as the first witness. Ms. Bonham, can you hear us?
I
Ms. Mercer,
can. Okay. It was saying that it disabled me for some reason.
There we go. We've got you now. And then Ms. Smith, there we go. So one quick rule, real quick, Ms. Bonham, and this is for the Mr. Smith, and Ms. Mercer knows this, but I have a recording machine that's taking down everything that we say. So it's very important that when someone's talking, you let them finish their question before you start giving an answer. Many times you may anticipate what she's asking. And the way we normally converse in regular life is we just start talking over someone and that sometimes happens. But in the courtroom, I want you to wait for the question to be fully asked before you give your answer. And same thing when you're questioning the witnesses, make sure if they're giving an answer that you let them complete their answer before you ask your next question. Last thing is, if you hear an objection, that means stop talking. Let me rule on the objection. And then I'll let you know you can continue your answer, or I'll say we need to move to a new topic. Okay? All right, Ms. Mercer, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Bonham, can you state your full name for the court, please?
Avery Nicole Bonham.
And let's just get this out there. Can you tell the court why you're in a military uniform?
I am literally getting ready to get on a plane to board for Afghanistan today. We're in line right now to walk out on the terminal.
Thank you so much for being here. Let me just say that. I appreciate your time and your effort. So can you tell this court why, what relationship you have to the parties, Chrislyn Smith and Brandon Smith?
Chrislyn Smith is my sister, my older sister, and Brandon Smith is my brother-in-law.
And have you had opportunity to witness Miss Smith, your sister, parent the children?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
And can you describe the Miss Smith's relationship with her son, Brandon, who she calls BJ?
Okay, my sister's relationship with BJ is like a very loving one. My sister is like kind of the opposite when it comes to myself, when she's just like so doting and just a great mother, so involved in their schooling and everything, because she gets to be there on a more consistent basis than I am as a mom. So I always like admire her for that, being able to be there and just immerse herself into the kids. I admire that about her as a mom. It's like she's really involved, especially with BJ. He's her oldest, so that's her heart.
What about her daughter?
Anaya is her girl, so you know they do all the girly things together, and she's the same way with both of them. Of course, they each have their own relationship, but she's just like that type of doting mom. She's involved, taking them here, taking them there, getting them everything that they need. She's always been there. She's always been that.
When's the last time you saw her with the children?
Just this past weekend, I was with them when they came to see me for my last weekend. I didn't get to see my nephew, my niece, because she was with her dad, but I got to spend my last weekend with my nephew.
What you saw this weekend, was there any time during that period of time, would you say that BJ was scared of his mother?
Not at all. He seemed like he missed her so much. He'd always come over and hug her and be like, "Mommy, I love you. I missed you," you know, stuff like that. And I just thought it was so sweet because you could tell that he missed his mom.
There was an event over the summer where Miss Smith, I think it was before the summer actually, where she brought the kids and there was some sort of celebration. Do you recall the last time prior to this weekend that they all came over?
Yes, ma'am.
At that party, was there anything that you feel like would have been uncharacteristic of a good parent?
Not at all. No, ma'am.
Did Miss Smith ever leave the kids alone, unprotected or unsupervised?
Not ever. When we went to the birthday party, it was a birthday party celebration. BJ is a little bit older than some of the kids that were there. So, you know, after he ate a little bit, he wanted to go back to the house, which is my home, with my mother. And so that's what he wanted to do because he has his Xbox and all that stuff there. And then, of course, Anaya stayed with us because her age group was more of that was at the party.
Is your sister an alcoholic?
No, ma'am.
Is she a drug user?
No.
If you know, how well did the kids do in school?
They're doing really well. Both of them, I want to say Anaya was on the AB honor roll this year. I'm not sure about if BJ made the AB honor roll, but I know they did really well. And she was their like primary instructor this year with COVID and everything. So hats off to her for that.
Ms. Bonham, that's all I have. Thank you for your testimony today. And thank you so much for your service. If I don't get to say it before you leave, Judge, I pass the witness.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Smith, thank you. Mr. Smith is now your witness. If you have any questions of this witness, you may ask the witness questions.
Have you witnessed dad being a dad in Brandon's life?
Yes.
To your, what would you rate it on a scale 1 through 10 as a dad?
As a dad, I think you're a great dad. I would give you 8.
Right.
I think that's fair. No one's perfect.
Right. The weekend whenever I came to get the kids, do you remember that instant and how the toboggan came out and you were, and the part you played in it?
Which time, Brandon?
This recent time on June 2nd, that Friday, when I was trying to get them to get dropped off at my school.
When you had to come and get them?
Yeah.
I don't really recall. You have to like refresh my memory of like what exactly happened so I could like, you know.
I was pretty much requesting mom to bring the kids to my school so that they can get dropped off and you guys can go do whatever you guys had planned. I don't know what it was.
Okay. Yeah, I remember there
You
was
kind of
I'm sorry.
refereed it for us, and you know.
I just thought that there was like lack of communication between you two because there is like that tension. So I always try to be like the fair, impartial party in between the two because I know you guys just want what's best for the kids. So I try to like any feelings involved which you two have on the outside, just try to be a neutral party and like saying like I'll be the one to take the feelings out and hey, just go ahead and you know drop them off or you can come and meet, and that could be like a happy medium.
And the last question, do you remember the summer of 2018 when I pretty much stayed at home the whole time with the kids and Chrislyn traveled?
I don't know if that was the entire summer. I just know she came and visited me when after living in Arizona for about 3 years, it was our first time being able to spend some time together. So she did travel to Louisiana to visit me.
And when Chrislyn did enter the military, do you remember who was the sole provider for the kids?
You, my mom, my dad, extended family.
Okay.
I know financially she was the one sending the money back at that time, even though she was not physically there.
Well, yeah, to correct that, when you start the
Objection,
military.
improper question. I think he's testifying at this point.
Staying as a sidebar, just ask the questions. You're going to get to tell me what you want to tell me in a little bit, Mr. Smith, but just ask questions.
Sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate it. That's it. Thank you, Avery, and good luck.
No problem. Thank you, Brandon.
Ms. Mercer, any other questions? Redirect with this witness?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I want to thank you as well for your service. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Your Honor. You too.
All right, Ms. Mercer, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, at this time, I would like to call Michael Young.
Ms. Mercer, you may proceed.
Mr. Young, you got to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
Mr. Young, can you state your full name for the court, please?
Michael Wayne Young.
And by way of profession, what do you do, Mr. Young?
I'm a retired professional basketball player.
Who did you play for?
I played for the Boston Celtics, Philadelphia 76ers, LA Clippers, also played in Europe.
And so how do you know the parties, Chrislyn Smith and or Brandon Smith?
I've never met Brandon Smith, but Chrislyn Smith, I've met her through her father.
And have you ever had a chance to work with Ms. Smith or any of Ms. Smith's children?
Yes, I've worked with Brandon in Nair in conditioning.
How long ago was that, Mr. Young?
That was last summer, all the way up until the fall.
And were you able to see a relationship between Ms. Smith and the children?
Of course. You know, she had them there for training. every day on time, and had them, but they would be leaving there going to other events.
Were you able to witness the relationship between the children?
Yes.
Would you say that they're close, that they're not close? How would you describe it?
Very close. I mean, like any kid would be close to their mother.
And so is there anything that you saw with regard to Ms. Smith and her relationship as a mother or a parent with the children that would have caused you concern?
Oh, no, nothing at all. You know, she's a great mom. I've seen her as being a provider. You know, she did things for her kids, and she was even involved in the workouts with me. She would sit there. I would let her sit there and watch the workout. So, you know, she would be cheering them on, talking to them.
How early in the morning were those workouts, Mr. Young?
Yes, we had workouts at 6 a.m.
And was this something that the kids loved, getting up and getting ready and being out there at 6 o'clock in the morning?
Yes, I mean, they showed up bright-eyed, ready to go, and worked hard, you know, never had a problem.
That's all I have, Mr. Young. Well, let me ask you this. Is there anything that I have forgotten to tell you that you think it's important for the judge to know?
No, I just think, you know, they have some great kids there, very talented. I think they're very smart, and you know they're on track. Very athletic, tough kids. I think they would could get a free ride to school through athletics.
Thank you, Coach Young. I appreciate your testimony. I pass the witness, Judge.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, it's now your opportunity to ask any questions if you have any questions for this witness.
How's it going, Mr. Young?
How you doing, Mr. Smith?
Nice to meet you. First of all, I just want to ask one question. How long have you known Chrislyn?
I met Kristen and the kids all at the same time last summer through her father.
So since last summer?
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
Any redirect, Ms. Mercer?
None, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Young, for testifying. We appreciate it. You're excused.
Thank you.
Ms. Mercer, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Judge. At this time, I'd like to call Daryl Humphrey.
I don't see him in the waiting room.
Your Honor, I'll move on. And so I think we have some witnesses that we kind of had them on standby. I'd like to move on and call Chrislyn Smith.
Okay. Ms. Smith, if you would unmute for me.
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Mercer, you may proceed.
Ms. Smith, would you state your full name for the court, please?
Chrislyn Shanice Smith.
And Ms. Smith, what is your role in this case?
My role, I'm the mother of Brandon and Anaya Smith. That's my role.
And the petition that you filed last year, what are you asking this court to do?
I'm asking this court to allow the kids to live with me and allow their father visitation, you know, first, third, and fifth weekend. He can see them. And I just want them to be able to live with me. I think it would be better for them and healthier for them to keep the kids together.
What school district did the kids, where did they go last year?
It's Lamarca LCISD, and the kids went to, Brandon went to Navarro and Anaya went to Meyer Elementary.
And this year, if they were to, was that in connection to your residence?
Yes, in connection with my residence.
Did you ask Mr. Smith, did you guys agree to where they would go?
No, I asked him if they could still go to the school where he was zoned, but he told me no, that I was going to be the primary parent and that he didn't want me in his business. So he told me that they would have to go where I live. And so that's when I told the kids they wouldn't be able to attend school where they were going. And so I went ahead and transferred them to where my address is located.
Your Honor, at this time, may I share the screen?
You may. Let me give you permission real quick.
For exhibit number 4.
All right, you may do so at this time. Thank you.
Judge, my paralegal is saying that the host disabled the screen sharing.
Oh, I gave you permission. I didn't know she was going to be doing it. So let me give it to her. There you go. She should be able to do it now.
Ms. Smith, do you recognize
Yes,
this screenshot?
I do.
And did you take the screenshot?
Yes, I took the screenshot.
And who is the conversation between?
It's with Brandon Smith, the father,
And who else?
and myself.
Have you, is this screenshot in substantially the same condition as whenever you took the screenshot at the time that it occurred? Have you
Yes.
altered it, changed it in any way?
No, ma'am, it's the same condition.
Your Honor, at this time, I would like to offer petitioner's exhibit number 4.
Any objection, Mr. Smith, to petitioners 4?
No, sir.
P4 is admitted.
Ms. Smith, can you read the conversation for the court, please?
Yes, ma'am, I can. And I asked Brandon, I said, are you going to use your employee ID to allow the kids to continue at Williams and Polly Ryan? They sent out an email that I screenshot for you the other day. Let me know, please. Mr. Smith said, I was told since I'm not custodial parent, I can't be that person because they're gonna need to call you for school issues. Why not send them to your school? I said, that's not true. They are your kids also, and they are able to attend as long as you work for the district. This I know. BJ wanted to go to Polly Ryan, and then I wanted to continue at Williams with her friends. He said, I can ask somebody else and see, but it makes sense. Saying that it makes sense for him not to allow them to go. And then the next statement, it says, your number is on the call list as well. Unless you make a big fuss about specifics, it shouldn't matter.
So after this conversation, did Mr. Smith do anything to keep the kids at the school that they had been at the year before?
No, ma'am, he didn't do anything to keep them there. It was left in my hands.
And so you enrolled them with your at the school that is associated with your address, is that right?
Yes, ma'am, it is correct.
Your Honor, I'd like to screen share exhibit number 2.
You may do so without
No.
court permission. Oh, well, actually, you know what? If it's got any financial records or healthcare records, let me know. But if it's just photos and stuff like that, you don't need the court's permission.
Thank you. Exhibit number 1. Before this begins to play, can you put a hold on that for a second? Before this begins to play, are you familiar with the petitioner's exhibit 1, Ms. Smith?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Can you tell the court what, without telling all the specifics that are in the video, can you tell the court what the video is going to show?
The video to me is going to show that the Brandon Smith, the father, he conversates with the children to turn them against me and kind of manipulate them into how they're thinking and to be rebellious to me. That's what it's going to show.
So, so who took this video?
Brandon took the video and he was sending it to the kids. I intercepted the video before they could get to it. And I took the recording of him talking to the kids on a video.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to offer up a petitioner's Exhibit 1.
Any objection, Mr. Smith?
No.
Petitioner's once admitted.
Thank you. We can't hear it. We need sound.
Ms. Mercer, I can tell you, we can't hear the sound, but I will review any evidence that's admitted. The court will certainly review before giving a ruling.
Thank you, Judge. You got it. Thank you. Ms. Smith, what do you believe that this video showed?
I believe the video showed the father not wanting to be co-parents and work together for the greater good of the kids. That's what I believe it showed.
Did he tell the children to just disobey you?
He did. He told the kids that they didn't have to listen to me. If they didn't want to work out, just not to work out and to call 911, and they don't have to worry about it. You know, he even talks about me being like my mother and parenting like her in some cases. And so, yes, he told them to sit down and cross their arms and don't listen to me. And I don't see why he would do that when I just wanted them to work out and to, you know, to better themselves in their sports.
You may object. What's the objection?
This isn't, the kids were complaining about the workout.
Oh, wait, hold on just a second. Just a second. Mr. Smith, you're going to get to tell me anything. So if you disagree with something she's saying, you might want to just make a note of it. You're going to get to testify later.
Okay.
But that's not an objection that you don't agree with what she's saying.
All right.
All right, the next question.
Ms. Smith, was there an agreement for Brandon to have the kids for the entire summer?
No, ma'am, that was not an agreement. The agreement was for him to get them the Friday and bring them back on Sunday.
What Friday and Sunday was that?
It was Friday, May 28th.
He keeps saying that it's June the 2nd.
What's the objection, Mr. Smith? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. What was the objection?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
He keeps saying that it was June the 2nd because that's his work day. But why do you think it was the 28th?
Because I looked at our text messaging records, and Friday, if I could look at my calendar, Friday was the 28th on that Friday.
And you're sure that he got them?
28th.
And you're sure that he got them
on that day? Yes, ma'am.
And so if Mr. Smith says that you guys agreed for him to have the entire summer, is that the truth or a lie?
That would be a lie.
In fact, when did you begin texting Mr. Smith asking him to return the kids?
Okay, I started texting Mr. Smith because it was a summer and Sunday. I started texting him that Monday. You know, I gave him another day just because there was, you know, nothing in. So, and I said, you know what, let me just call him Monday. Hey, when are you going to bring the kids? I was texting him because he wasn't answering the phone. And he was saying that what happened to Anaya's foot. He started asking me those kind of questions. What was going on with her foot?
So
And
are
he
you,
didn't tell. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Let me ask you another question. So did you continue texting him during the month of June, asking him about the kids?
Yes, I continued to text Mr. Smith, asking him, hey, when am I going to see my kids? That wasn't the agreement. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to take my kids from me? And he starts saying that, you get them all year round. Summers are for dads anyway. You act like
So-
I'm going to.
Okay, so did he refuse to let you talk to the kids on the phone?
Yes, he refused to let me talk to the kids. I was not able to talk to the kids. He threatened to block me, even if I kept calling.
How many times did you get to talk to your son BJ from May the 28th to to August this weekend till this Friday?
One time, I was allowed to talk to him one time.
Was Brandon the father? Was he there while BJ was talking to you?
Yes, he was. He was there while he was talking to me. It was on speakerphone. And I
Don't
was
say-
kept talking.
Without saying anything he said,
Yes.
did you feel like his conversation was voluntary, or it was a product of something his dad was
I feel,
pressuring him to say?
yes, I felt like he was being pressured to say those things. I felt like he was doing that because his dad was there and the manner of the conversation.
During the weekend that you've had him this past weekend, there was a 48-hour period. Would you say that's correct?
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
And during the first day, how would you characterize the texting that his dad did with him on the first day?
On that Friday, he texted Brandon, over and over asking, are you okay? Why aren't you answering the phone? And I believe that was the Saturday. He kept texting him, you want to play pool with me? And and I didn't say anything, but he texted him, hey, are you okay? Let me know. I got family there. Son, please let me know if you're in trouble, if you're in danger, like I'm doing something to him. And my son replied back on text, hey, Dad, I'm just playing basketball. My phone's in the bag.
Okay, so on a Sunday, did Brandon reach out to your son to play some sort of game with him online, or?
Yeah, on Saturday he did. He reached out to him and said, hey, let's play pool. So my son, he pretty much played pool with him for a while. I would ask him, say, hey, what you doing? Oh, Dad wants to play pool. I'm just playing pool with Daddy. I said, oh, okay.
So let me get this straight. You had not seen your son since May the 28th, and Mr. Smith had your son that entire time. And so Mr. Smith's behavior for that 48-hour period was to try to consume your son's attention and time.
Yes, he texted my son and said, I'm supposed to speak to you, be able to talk to you between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m.
And that's part of the mediated settlement agreement, is it not?
Yes, that is.
And are the kids supposed to know about what was said in the mediation or mediated settlement agreement?
No, ma'am, they said we were not allowed to talk about it.
And who texted that to your son?
Brandon Smith, the father.
During this time that Brandon is texting your kid and playing pool, some sort of a game on phone or online, does he also have your daughter during that time?
He has my daughter at that time, yes.
So in essence, he's not paying any attention to your daughter because he's too consumed over controlling your son's time.
Yes, ma'am, that's what I felt like. Yes,
ma'am. Have you had an opportunity how would you characterize, now let me ask you this, how would you characterize what Mr. Smith wants out of the hearing today in terms of visitation?
I characterize it as he only cares about BJ, and he because of not wanting to take care of financial obligations, he feel like he can get BJ and he'll give me Anaya, and he want to split them up. But I don't think that's for the greater good of the kids. They love each other.
During the month of July, did you, even though you hadn't had either one of them for a month, during the month of July, did you offer Mr. Smith opportunity to spend time with Anaya, your daughter?
Yes, I did. I asked him, I said, hey, you still get your weekends. I'm going to allow you to see Anaya. And he told me, nope, you just keep her and we'll let the courts decide. He didn't want to see her anymore. But his sister reached out to me and asked on his weekend if she can get her and take her to SeaWorld. And I said, of course, you know, her brother's going to be there. She missed him. You could come and pick her up. So she came and picked Anaya up and they went to SeaWorld for the weekend because it was Braden's weekend and she does miss her family as well. So I thought it was best.
So other than that time, did Mr. Smith, as far as you know, did he take both of the children on any kind of vacation over the summer?
Not that I know that he's taking them on any kind of vacation over the summer, no, ma'am. They didn't
Did
say
you
they
have-
went anywhere with him.
Did you have both of the children at any one given moment so that you could have taken them over the summer?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
And yet you still gave up time for his sister to take them so that they would have that opportunity together?
Yes, it's my daughter, she loves her brother and she loves her family. And so, you know, aside from my feelings, I felt like it was best that she went and spent some time with her family still.
How does BJ feel about not only your daughter, but you also have a young child, a 6-month-old, is that right?
He's 8 months, yes, ma'am.
8 months, sorry. And you and Brandon have been apart now for a few years.
Yes, ma'am, we have.
And you've each had other paramours or other partners. Would that be safe to say?
That is safe to say, yes, ma'am.
And that is who you have an 8-month-old with. It's
I'm sorry?
not Brandon's, that's not Brandon's baby, right?
No, it's not his baby, no, ma'am.
How does your 2 children, Anaya and BJ, feel about your Kyle, your 8-month-old?
They love him to death. When BJ saw him, I gave him to him and he gave him a big hug. Anaya loves her little brother. She runs in, oh, you know, my little baby, you know, they're attached to him. They love him. And BJ said he missed him, you know, because he's gotten so big over the months that he wasn't able to see him. And so he said he missed him terribly.
Has Mr. Smith ever said to you that the children are lazy and he didn't want them?
Yes. It was one instance where he texted me. He was like, I wish I would have just left them with you. You know, they're lazy. They don't want to do nothing. You know, I'm going to bring them to you and just send me my ticket as far as I'll pay child support. You keep them and deal with them. He doesn't want to deal with them. And that was through a text message he sent to me.
Would you share your screen? Petitioner 6. Do you recognize this screenshot?
Yes, I do.
What is that a screenshot of?
That's a screenshot of myself and Mr. Smith, the father's correspondence between one another.
And have you altered this screenshot in any way?
No, ma'am, not at all.
Your Honor, at this time, I would like to offer petitioners exhibit number 6.
Any objection, Mr. Smith?
Yes, sir. The conversation was from what mom said. I'm just piggybacking off the rest of the text message.
Okay. You're going to have an opportunity to offer any additional context that you'd like to, or you can do that at this time if you have some messages that you want me to review. But that objection to P6 is overruled. P6 is admitted.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Smith, in this conversation, can you read at least the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines?
Yes. He said, they calling you. I said, will the kids be coming back home this week? And he said, I told him BJ has Zoom at 12 he said, yeah, I'm about to bring them. Don't worry. They too lazy. I wish I would have let you keep them because they don't want to do any work. but they on the way to you. Just hand me my ticket. And
And that's basically what you just testified about, is that right?
yes, ma'am, that's what I testified about.
At this time, I would like to pull up petitioner's number 7. Do you recognize this photograph, Ms. Smith?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Who is that a picture of?
That's my daughter, Anaya.
And when was this photograph taken?
That was taken about June of last year.
And
Or June of 20.
where had she been right prior to that picture?
She was with her father.
And what's going on? Has this picture been altered or changed in any way?
No, ma'am, it has not. Original form.
At this time, Your Honor, I would like to offer P7.
Any objection, Mr. Smith?
No, sir.
P7 is admitted.
Ms. Smith, what's going on with Anaya's face?
With her face, she's having an allergic reaction to something she's gotten into with her dad. She has an allergic reaction.
And if
A
you
very bad
know,
one.
how long had she been suffering before you saw her?
She was suffering maybe about 2 or 3 days before I got to her.
How do you know?
Because my daughter told me.
Did you talk to Brandon about what was going on with her face when you saw her?
I did.
And what did he
when
say?
I saw her. Mr. Smith said she was having a rash, and he put some stuff on it, some cream or something, and it's not a rash. It's she's having an allergic reaction, and I felt that he should have taken her to the emergency room, which I did when I saw her. I immediately took her.
What kind of grades did the kids make last year?
The kids, they made A's and B's last year. They made good grades.
And I anticipate that Mr. Smith may say the kids did not want to do the workouts, but you heard your witness, Mr. Young. Do you agree with him, or do you agree with Mr. Smith?
I would agree with Mr. Young.
And I mean, your kids didn't give you a hard time about working out at 6 o'clock in the morning?
At 6 o'clock in the morning, when I would get them up, they would get up. Of course, kids would kind of be a little sleepy from time to time. My daughter, she was always pumped up. My son, it took him a little while to get jump started, but by the time we got there, they go ahead and get on the ball and work out. They'd have fun doing it.
So were you forcing them to do some sort of athletics because that's something you want and they don't want that?
No, they told me, Mom, I want to be able to be really good at the running track. My daughter, she's in gymnastics. My son plays football, and he would like to run track. And so I took it upon myself to put them in a position so that they can be the best that they can be at that, and working hard comes with that.
Has Mr. Smith, has he contributed at all to any of the extracurriculars your children are involved with financially?
No, ma'am. He was not contributing to any of that.
Did you let him know about any of these practices so that he could be involved?
I did.
Did he show up to any of
them? He did not.
Has your son played in any kind of games, or your daughter, has she done any type of exhibition in gymnastics where Mr. Smith could have participated?
No, she's training now. And my son, he's been working out. So when he got them, they weren't able to do anything like that. The things that I signed him up for, he wasn't able to participate because he was with Dad.
So your son has been in some sort of organization where he did football games or some sort of game associated with his sport. Is that right?
Yes, he has been. Yes, ma'am.
And did Mr. Smith, did he participate in any of that? Did he show up?
Yeah, during that time, the league that he was in, Mr. Smith put him in that, and so he showed up to that as well.
Did you show up to the league that Mr. Smith put him in?
I did, and it was another league that I put him in, which was touch football. Mr. Smith never showed up to any of the practices or the games.
So I think what you're saying is if you sign him up, Mr. Smith refuses to participate, but you
Correct.
participate either way.
I
Is
do.
that fair? Okay.
That's fair to say. Yes, ma'am.
Has Mr. Smith ever signed your daughter up for anything?
No, he hasn't signed her up for anything.
Has he ever gone to any
No.
practices that she's had?
He showed up once or twice for gymnastics to give her a hug and to leave.
How often do you show up to your daughter's practices?
She goes Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I take her every time that she's going. When she was with her dad and I wasn't allowed to see her, he didn't take her. He didn't take her to her gymnastics practice that she loves.
Did he know
neglected
about
to
it?
take her. He knew about it, yes, ma'am, and the times and the date. I told him, he told me that he's not taking her. He'll find something else for her to do.
Has Mr. Smith ever helped you financially pay for any of the activities the kids are involved in?
No, ma'am, he has not.
Who covers the kids on medical?
They're on Medicaid.
Would you share P21, please? Ms. Smith, can you describe this photograph?
Yes, we took this picture for my daughter's birthday. She wanted to take pictures. And so this is a picture of my son, Brandon, he's 12, my youngest, Kyle, and my daughter. And they had a great time during the photo shoot. It was a really fun time. And that's their bond. And that's how they are when they interact at home, this loving relationship.
How long ago was this photograph taken?
It was April the 9th of this year, my daughter's birthday.
Has this picture been changed, altered, corrected, added to, deleted from in any way since it was taken?
No, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to offer P21.
Mr. Smith, any objection to P21?
No, sir.
P21 is admitted.
Ms. Smith, do you believe that your children will function as well with Mr. Smith as the primary parent?
No, ma'am, I don't believe so.
And who's primary in terms of helping them with their homework?
I am.
Has Mr. Smith ever has he ever been active in helping them with their homework?
For occasional time when we live together, occasional from time to time, but I was the primary as far as helping them with homework and stuff like that.
And has there ever been a time when Mr. Smith really didn't help them at all with their schoolwork and you had to catch up whenever you had them?
Yes, there has been a time their teachers would email me and call me because I had a really good rapport with them. You know, of course they were with me and through Zooms, and they would say, well, BJ, he hasn't been logging in. And I said, well, he's with Dad right now. They would say, you know, I figured it because when they're with you and I talk to them and the teachers, they know that they're getting their schoolwork done. So they say, well, don't worry, when they come back with you, you know, I'll give you a chance to catch up and help them catch up. And so I would help them catch up. Sorry. I would help them catch up with their schoolwork. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you think your children are afraid of you in any way?
Of me? No, ma'am. They're not afraid of me at all.
Are they afraid of each other?
No, they love each other. Brandon, he's a gentleman to his sister. He pretty much lets her have her way. They're really close. They're really good friends. They're like best friends. She always say, hey, Mama, I miss BJ, you know. So.
Your Honor, I pass the witness.
Okay, and Ms. Mercer, just so you know, you've got 19 minutes. And Mr. Smith, you may proceed. If you have any questions of Ms. Smith, you may ask those questions at this time.
Okay, you said that Anaya logged, you had to catch them up by logging them back in whenever they're with me. Did I have them during the school year for COVID at all?
Yes. If they're in March, when they were still going to Williams at the beginning during COVID, yes, they were.
And they stayed off of line with me.
Yeah, they weren't getting their work done. And the teachers would call me and tell me, hey, you have to have so many hours and you have to be, do so many objectives, and they weren't getting them done. I had to catch them up and do the work for the current week and the past week. Yes.
So I had they had their laptops with me at my house, or did it ever happen?
Their laptops with they used the computer that was there during the time.
You said I didn't show up in any sporting events. For Brandon's first 5 years of football, who was the hands-on person there? Did you coach the team or did I coach the team?
During the first during the beginning of
Yes.
the years, like 4 years ago, yeah, we
Yes.
were both hands-on. I was there taking videos and I was there giving water. So we both were there hands-on with Brandon in his activities.
Was Anaya in cheerleading during that time?
She did cheerleading, I think 1 year. They weren't organized, and so I didn't allow her to cheer.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said you put them in events. What events did they start and finish under your supervision?
Well, Anaya is in gymnastics.
Have
That's
she
what she's
finished?
been wanting to do.
Have she finished a complete year of it or anything? Or does she just started and never
No,
finished?
she's been doing it. The only time she stopped is when she was with you and you neglected to take her. But Anaya's been going every Tuesday and Wednesday that she's been with me for
Well,
gymnastics.
I do have the medal in my truck from when she did finish when we stayed.
Objection, inappropriate question.
Sustained. Just ask questions, Mr. Smith. You can tell me stuff in a little bit.
Your father's track team, did they run track for his team?
Yes, they did run track.
How long?
How long did they run track for his team?
Hmm.
Well, they ran track days maybe 3 months.
3 months?
They was practicing with him. Yeah, maybe 3 months.
Will your kids agree with that?
Yeah, they would agree. They went to practice. I took them. I took them to practice. You weren't involved in that. It's something that I did with them.
You said the kids had good grades.
Yeah.
How can I word this? Because I have emails of horrible grades.
Objection,
Sustained.
inappropriate question.
Sustained.
Okay.
Just ask questions right now. You're going to be able to tell me stuff later.
Do the kids have a lot of tardies from this past year?
Tardies? No.
Tardy.
No, they don't have a lot of tardies.
Absence?
I don't believe it was an absence. I've taken them to the doctor a couple of times, and so they weren't able to come. It was a couple times where the internet was down, and I corresponded with the teachers and spoke to them, but they advised me that during COVID, there's a lot of glitches in the system. There's a lot of things that was going on, and they were putting in or not putting in. And so, it was just one of those things with the kids that were doing virtual from home.
Okay. Do the kids, have you been in any car wrecks with the kids?
No car wrecks with the kids.
Did you receive a call from me saying that I was getting harassed by a deputy over a car wreck?
Over a car wreck. I'm sorry, I'm not understanding what car wreck you're talking about.
Did I call you and tell you that a name and a number that was calling from a deputy that was looking for you from a car?
Oh, there was at the school, someone hit my light. And so we had to pull over and exchange information, but I was not at fault at that. Is that what you're speaking of? She hit my light.
Hold on, Ms. Smith, you can't ask questions. He
I'm
gets to
sorry.
because
Yes.
he's representing himself. So if you don't,
Yes, sir.
know the answer, you can say you don't know, but don't ask him questions. All right, Mr. Smith, next question.
Was it a second car wreck right there on 36 underneath the Beltway? I mean, underneath 36 and 59
No, sir.
And my
There
kid
was no car wreck.
with my kids in the car.
Objection, ask and answer. She said no.
Sustain.
Okay, let's go back to the working out. Did you sign Brandon up to do training with Javar's workout group?
I did.
How long did that last?
Well, it didn't last long because you took him and he wasn't allowed to finish. I paid him and I still have a credit, but he hasn't went back. You didn't want him.
So you didn't take his spot in the workout? Did you take his spot in the workout group in the slot and he stayed at home?
No, I've never taken his spot. He worked out with a group of football players. And so that's what he does is he has a football camp on Saturdays and Sundays, and there's no adults that are able to work out with that group. I'm sorry.
Okay. Have you ever left your kids at home by yourself?
To not for long, you check the mail and things like that. I have.
Have you ever gotten in the vehicle and drove away and left your kids supervising your baby?
No, I have never done that. No, I've never done that. I left my baby sleep and I went to the office while he was asleep, but I've never drove away. I apologize.
It's one particular time I'm talking about. Has it been past 2 a.m. and have you ever went to a bar to go drink and left your kids supervised by Brandon and Anaya?
No, I've never done that.
Okay. What about an incident with going to get milk out the car?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember telling Brandon to go get milk out the car one day and he couldn't find it?
No, I don't remember. I don't recall what you're talking about.
So you've never left your kids at home, is what you're saying, and went to the bar, anything like that?
No, I wouldn't have done that.
Have you ever left your kids at home and they FaceTime their dad and they've been on the phone with me FaceTiming until you got back?
From the bar? No.
This one isn't the bar. Have you ever left your kids at home for
I
longer
don't
than 2
recall.
hours?
No, I don't recall what you're speaking about. No, I don't recall that. Leaving them at home for over 2 hours to go to a bar or anything like that. No.
No, that was the last question. This question is, have you ever left them at home and they were afraid and they FaceTime their dad?
Objection, ask and answer.
Overruled. You may answer
No.
that, ma'am.
Yeah, no, I don't recall that. I'm sorry.
No. Okay.
No.
Okay. Anaya, with Anaya and the allergic reaction. Did you have prior knowledge of Anaya being allergic to anything?
Yeah, Naya has eczema and she has sensitive skin. That's correct.
Do you recall a text message apologizing to me about not knowing all the things that she was allergic to?
No, I don't recall that.
Do you recall telling me to just bring Anaya to you after I updated you on her allergic reaction?
I was told that she had a rash. She had a rash. So when you have a rash doesn't look like that. So when I saw her face, I immediately took her to the emergency room, which I was told was a good thing because she could have had an anaphylactic shock. Her throat could have closed because of the type of allergic reaction she was having. But a rash and that are two different things. So I didn't know what you were speaking of because I didn't have it.
So do you remember the list of things that she's allergic to that you sent me so that I can be updated as well?
I remember you were supposed to have her that at that time, and I asked you to take her to the doctor, and you said no, that's your job. And so I took it upon myself to take her to the doctor at the scheduled time, and everything that was on her back, those are just minor little allergic reactions. It was a skin test. And so you being the father, I wanted to keep you in the loop to let you know, hey, this is what I saw. But
So
those things could not have caused that,
what
There
was it
just a
that
skin
caused that?
test.
What was it?
Well, I believe she was playing with slime, maybe, or I don't know what caused it because she was in your care. So I don't know what caused it.
Had she ever played with slime while we stayed together?
Yes, but I mean, I don't know what's in what was the thing that was in it that caused it. So no.
Have we ever made slime while we were together?
Yes, all right, we have.
So it's safe to say that nobody knew.
Yeah, no one knew, but I think it was very important to get her to the emergency room during that time.
When Anaya fell on her hoverboard, did I take her to the doctor or did I neglect her?
Objection, time frame, Your Honor.
Sustained. If you can let us know, Mr. Smith, in your question, approximately when did that happen? Was it a year ago, 2 years ago?
2.5 years ago.
All right. Ms. Smith, you can answer that now if you recall.
I don't recall it.
You don't recall meeting me at the hospital?
No, I don't recall that incident.
Well, yeah, her teachers they've emailed us about the sling on her arm, and you replied back.
Objection, improper question.
Sustained.
When Brandon fell on a motorcycle, did I take him to the doctor immediately?
Right.
Objection, time frame.
It's been answered. Next question.
When Anaya burned her feet, when was that?
She burned her foot in May of this year.
Can you tell me about that story?
Yes, I can. She was in the kitchen. My son was making noodles. Anaya heard the microwave go off and she took it upon herself to go and get it for my son. When she got it out, water wasted on her foot and it was really hot and she burned herself. I immediately took action because it was a little burn, and I did what I felt was right as far as putting the burn cream on there and just keeping a watchful eye on it to make sure it didn't get any infection or anything like that. That's what happened.
Was there a period of time where you were too busy and she had to sit on the couch for about an hour and eat popcorn with Brandon while her feet burned?
During that time, we were in mediation, waiting for you to come to the phone, which you never showed up that day. And so she laid on the bed right here. And so she laid on the bed while we waited in mediation, and I was talking to them and I was doctoring on her at the same time. We were in mediation. At some point, she was getting sleepy. And she was cold, and so she laid on the couch for a little bit. But I doctored on her, and I took care of her during that time. Yes, I remember.
So if given a chance, your 12-year-old son will concur your story, right?
Yes, he would say the same thing. That's what happened.
Did he not continue to knock on your door and alert you that Anaya was crying? Instead, he hurt you.
Yeah, when she was crying, I would go in, tell them to hold on, go in and say, "Hey, now, baby," I put some on there, and I would coddle her and I say, "I'll be right back." But that's going back and forward, waiting for mediation. And so when they told me and say, "Hey, you know what? We can't reach him. He's not going to come to the phone," I immediately took over and gave her all the undivided attention.
Did you take her to the doctor?
No, I didn't take her to the doctor. Something like that didn't need an
Could you see her
emergency
meat?
room or doctor.
Could you see the meat on her feet through the burn? Was it that bad? It was like third-degree burn, like that?
No, it wasn't. No meat showing at all. There was no meat.
Do you remember an incident maybe a couple days after when you took her to Louisiana and she told you that her feet was pussing and bleeding?
Objection, any hearsay.
Sustained. Don't say what the daughter said. Just you can
Okay.
ask her.
Sorry about that, Judge. Do you remember being at a party and Anaya complaining about her feet?
No, Anaya was running around playing. Anaya was running around playing with the other kids and dancing and having fun.
So you didn't take her upstairs and pop the pus out?
No. At the party? No, I didn't. No, I did not do that. I didn't take her upstairs.
Or
and pop
someone
the
else?
pus out.
I'm sorry, whoever the owner of the house was.
No, they didn't do that.
Did you alert Dad that this happened?
No, I didn't alert you that it happened.
How long after that happened was she in Dad's care?
The next week.
And you didn't alert him to keep an eye on it?
No, I didn't. It was fine. It was drying up, and I actually, did it hurt? She said no, and I said, "Okay, baby," and I looked at it, and I made sure everything was fine with her foot. There was nothing to alert you about. I gave her Neosporin and with the burn cream on there to take with her. But her foot was fine. It was healing already. It was okay.
So after Dad got the kids, did I raise any alarms that this was an issue?
No, you did not.
Because you said you text me on Monday for the kids. Was there anything said about it?
Yeah, you started texting me about that on Tuesday. You didn't text me when you first got her. It was when I reached out to you after my lawyer said that you were going to try to keep the kids from me because she burned herself. And so after he told me that, you never reached out to me. He reached out to you during that time. You never told me, say, "Hey, what's going on with this?"
So you didn't render aid, or you didn't tell Dad, right?
I rendered aid, yes.
I mean, hospital or someone with the knowledge, to clean it off properly.
Yeah, it was cleaned properly. I took care of it. Yeah, it's regular burn.
Okay. You said that Dad doesn't take care of the kids for the last, what, a year, 2 years?
That you, I believe I said financially, you offered no financial support at all for the past year. And they
Okay.
have been in my care primarily. That's what I was
And,
saying.
and from the moment we left the house, all the way up until I was served with papers, was the agreement not, we had the kids 1 week apiece for 2 years going on or something like that?
Yeah, it wasn't 2 years. The agreement was that we were doing 1 week apiece or 2
Well,
weeks
for
apiece.
1
That's
week,
what we were doing. We
for
were
one
doing
year,
that.
for 1 year, did you do 2 weeks apiece, and did you change it?
No, I believe it was agreed upon.
Did you say you missed your babies and you can't do 2 weeks, you'd rather do one?
I don't remember or recollect that.
So basically, for 1 year, school year, going to school, picking up, everything is on that person for the whole 2 weeks. And then it's on the other person for the next 2 weeks, correct?
Yeah, if you have them for 2 weeks, yes, you would take care of them.
Clothes, food,
They're in your
everything,
care.
right?
Right.
And when did I get served my papers?
I believe you got served your papers and at the end of March or April, I believe, is when you got served, until when you told the kids you
Was
were not going to be able to.
was it
You
due to your
told the,
pregnancy?
what was due to my pregnancy? I'm sorry.
The serving.
No, it's not due to a pregnancy. The reason you got served.
Were you pregnant at the time, is what I'm asking.
Yes, I was pregnant.
Did you write that on the paper? On the petition? Did I know?
It's not your baby. We were separated. You was living with your girlfriend, and so it wasn't your business if I was pregnant.
I was living with my mom at the time.
Okay.
But
No, it was you're not the
Objection,
dad.
improper question.
Sustained.
as far as the sports events, before Mr. Young or anybody else had any training or anything along with the kids, did you or was it me hands-on when it came to that kind of stuff?
It was both. I would take him to practice, and you would take him to practice. So it's both. I'm
Practice
sorry.
where I coached that?
Let me get a charger. I'm sorry. I'm back.
You may continue, Mr. Smith.
You said either you or I take them to practice. So is it practice where I coached at?
Yeah, you would. Sometimes you coach there. You would quit, and you would go back. You know, the coach would call me and say, "Hey, is Dad going to still coach with us?" You know, sometimes. So yeah, you would do
Is
it,
this
but I
year
would
in
take
and
him
year out, or is this week by week?
within the same season.
What year was that? Freshman year, sophomore year, junior year? What year is that I quit?
This a year ago, the last time he was with him, I believe. Yeah.
So I didn't coach when he played with the Steelers?
Yes, you coach here and there, Brandon. You coach.
I wasn't at every game. Was I at every single game?
I don't remember if you was at every single game, but you were at the games.
Were
I
you?
remember you were there. Was
Were
I
you
at the game?
every single game?
No, but I was at the game. Not every single game. I don't think so.
Okay, so you may not know if I was there coaching. Correct?
I'm sorry.
I said, if you're not at every single game, and I'm telling you that I was, Maybe-
the calls that I got.
Objection, improper question.
Sustained.
So, like I said, as far as doing homework with the kids, when we stayed together, was it you that helped the kids out again? I just want to get this clear. Or was it me, the hands-on and working with schoolwork?
When they would leave and go to your school, you would help them, and I would help them as well with schoolwork and projects.
So after school, how did they get from their school to their next destination?
So the weeks that they were with you, they got from the school to your school. But when they were with me, you told me and you denied that.
Before that, let's go before that. Like when we lived together, like what routine do they know of? Basically, is what I'm asking.
Oh, okay. Before that we left, they would go to your school afterwards. Your school would be the school that they go to because they was on the transfer and they didn't catch a bus home. And so they caught the bus to your school. That was the protocol. Yeah.
And I saw on those messages, whenever the text messages that they just passed by, it said that I don't know about signing the papers.
I'm sorry?
The text message, the very first one that you guys sent in, the date is May 31st. That's the end of school. So could it have been a chance that I was thinking about changing jobs and not knowing what was going to happen? Is that?
Objection calls for speculation as to what he was thinking.
Sustained.
And did we conversate about it? How about that?
I'm sorry. Did we conversate about it?
Yeah.
You said exactly what you said in the message. You said that you didn't want me in your business and that they need to call me to pick the kids up, that you didn't want to have anything to do with it. So that's why. And you sent it as a text message.
Did I give you any reason?
You said you didn't want me in your business and that I would have to deal with it because I was going to be the custodial parent and that they need to go to school where I lived. And that's what I did. By chance,
did I say that it was overwhelming?
No, I don't recall that.
Because of my 2 weeks.
No, I don't recall.
I see that you have Daryl as a witness, correct?
Yes.
All right. I heard earlier you said something about me saying you're like your mom or something like that. Did I get video? Did I get that lingo from your dad?
I don't know.
Objection calls for speculation.
He's here.
Sustained.
Your other witness, Deandrea. Is she the one that told on you to me about everything that you were doing? Did I conversate with you about it? Did I tell you?
No, I don't remember that conversation.
Okay. And Judge, I will get to question that person, right?
Well, I was going to just tell you, and when I give both sides updates, it doesn't mean that I'm rushing you along. I'm just kind of letting you know where you stand so you don't lose track of time.
Yes,
so
sir.
Mr. Smith, you now have 25 minutes left. Ms. Mercer, you have 19 minutes left. So Mr. Smith, you certainly want to make sure you leave time to be able to tell me what you want to tell me.
Yes, sir. Have my kids have Brandon specifically ever told you that your family, he doesn't feel safe around people in your family?
That he doesn't.
Objection as to whatever the child said. Objection hearsay.
Sustained is the hearsay. Let's not get into what the children say.
Do your kids feel safe around your family?
Objection, speculation.
Overall, ma'am, just don't tell me what the kids say, but if you have observations where you think they don't feel safe, or that they do feel safe, you can let me know. How do you observe them when they're around your family? Do they?
My kids feel safe around my family. When I go around, they go outside, they play, and they enjoy themselves. They feel safe. No one's gonna harm them.
Have you told me stories about your family?
I don't. What stories are you speaking of, and what time frame?
Any kind of physical, any kind of touching, any kind of anything about
No,
your family?
I have not.
Have you told me about your dad, Daryl? A story about,
No, I don't. I don't recollect that conversation, Brent.
do you remember telling me that Brandon is so lazy?
Working out? No, I said that he can do better than what he's doing, working out, and give more effort. But just saying that he's so lazy, no, I don't
Yeah, I'm
recollect
talking
that.
about working out. That's what I'm totally
Yeah,
speaking of working out
yeah.
right now.
There's some times where he needs to push himself
Do,
more, working
do you
out.
remember calling me and making videos about him and showing me where he's lacking and just, you know,
Because you are his dad, and I feel like if you see what he's doing, that you can kind of help him in that. And that's the only reason that I had those conversations, because I wanted to work with you in those instances. So if you could see what he's doing with me, when he comes to you, maybe you can kind of work with him on some of those things.
and do you remember Brandon playing a football game and along with that text message, me calling him saying he agreeing with you
Agreeing with me about, I'm sorry, I don't understand the
about
question, what you're asking.
his laziness and when it comes to sports, that he can do better.
Okay, yes.
So, I mean, that term actually came from you, right?
Objection as to the origin of laziness, Judge. I'm not sure that came from either one of these parties.
Sustained, and I can tell both parents, the court's not gonna award custody just because one parent calls a kid lazy. I mean, that's, parents do that sometimes, because that they get frustrated with the kid not showing initiative. I get it.
Definitely.
And I'm sure both parents have done that. I've done that about my kids.
Okay, I just wanted to answer the lady. I saw the text and I
I
just wanted to
understand why you're
clarify
doing it.
where it came from. Right now, that's all I have right now, Judge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Smith. Ms. Mercer, any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Smith, there is some discussion about physical touching with regard to your dad or your family. Did you hear that question?
Yes, I heard that question.
But in fact, has Mr. Smith ever caused you injury enough to where you had to go to the hospital?
Yes, he has.
And what were your injuries from Mr. Smith?
For Mr. Smith, he pushed me off of the porch and I had a hairline fracture on my hip, opposite the hip that we got in a car wreck in. I'm not talking about that one, but on my opposite hip, he pushed me off the porch and I had a hairline fracture on my hip.
How long ago was that?
That was in 2007, early 2007, 6.
Since then, has Mr. Smith done any, caused any physical injury to you?
Yes, he's pulled my hair out. He has disfigured my face before when he was in college. He spit on me. He's taken trash and threw it. It's just a lot of, like, before it's physical, yes, he has done some things. Yes, ma'am.
Has he ever physically assaulted you in front of the children?
Yes, he has. He's choked me and my daughter jumped on his back and said, "Leave my mommy alone." You know, he's done that in front of my daughter.
Does this have anything to do with why you're getting a divorce?
Yes, this is the verbal and physical and not getting along. I chose not to be in it anymore and I wanted to leave. Yes, ma'am.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith, anything further from this witness?
Yes, sir. How long ago after you said I pushed you off the porch was the wreck that you're talking about? How far apart is that?
The wreck was, they were close together. You pushed me off the porch.
Like within days?
No, it was not with it.
Did I get kicked out of college for any assault on me?
They didn't get kicked out. They gave you a partial scholarship, I believe.
Was it not because a new coach came in to bring his guys? And did we not discuss that? You've never had that discussion with me?
Yeah, I don't recollect that.
Do you remember me telling you that I forfeited and walked off myself?
Yeah, you left after they gave you a partial scholarship. You didn't want it. You wanted full. So you left after that. That's true.
So it had nothing to do with you then, right? Where were you staying before you came to college with me?
Where was I living at?
Objection,
left.
relevance, Judge.
Sustained. I don't want to go that far back, y'all, or we'll be here for more than one day. Let's stick to stuff that's happened in the last few years.
It all goes together because I mean, she stayed with my mom. I mean, she stayed under, you know, and there was a lot of riffraff going on within her own family. So I mean, this was.
And Mr. Smith, I allowed you to question her a little bit about it because she brought it up about what happened in college. But again, I'm not going to make decisions on what y'all did in college.
Right.
You may continue.
Have the cops ever been called on me for anything, any assault?
No, I've never called the cops or reported.
Anybody else
to the
ever
cops.
called the cops for anything?
I don't recollect that.
Have I ever been to jail? No.
Mm-hmm.
How about,
Not that I could remember. You've never been in jail.
have you ever gotten in trouble with law enforcement?
For expired tags?
Have you ever went to jail?
That was over 15. It was a long time ago. It's like maybe 19.
Right. I get it. But have you ever gotten in trouble or, you know, anything like that?
In the past couple of years, a few years? No, I haven't.
Okay. And you said you were in the military, right?
Yes, about almost 10 years ago.
Objection as to relevance, Judge. She wasn't in the military in the last 2 or 3 years.
We had kids then.
Hold on. Overruled on that. You may answer that. You were in the military 10 years ago, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
All right.
For how long?
Get out.
He asked
I'm sorry,
for how long
my
you were
daughter.
in the military.
My daughter walked in. I'm gonna have to let her go out before. Hey, you gotta go out.
Ms.
Okay, I'm
Smith,
sorry.
the question from Mr. Smith was, how long were you in the military?
I was in the military for about 1.5 years.
Okay. Why'd you leave?
I left the military because we were arguing a lot, you know, and it wasn't for me. So they allowed me to get out with a general with honorable conditions. That's why I left. It's on my.
It has absolutely nothing to do with maybe your body being sick, surgeries. It has nothing to do with drug, failed test, anything like that. Won't show up.
No, it doesn't. It won't. At all.
Did I leave or did you leave from the military?
I was in the Army. You weren't in the Army.
Right, but I was stationed with you, right?
You were, but I'm not understanding.
Who had the kids basically? who was taking the kids back and forth to school, like hands-on with the kids?
Well, I left, was it July? It was in the summertime when I left to come down. You went before me with the kids, and then I came after you.
Even when you were in boot camp, who was it, the kids?
I left them with you. You were the father. I left them with you.
How old were they?
Anaya was 1,
Let's try 6 months.
and my son she was 1 year
Objection,
old.
sidebar, Your Honor.
Sustained. Don't correct her answers. You can get to testify later.
Sorry
Don't
about
correct
that.
her answers. Just let her answer.
Anaya was 1 year old when I went. It was 2012 of April, I believe, when I left. My daughter's born April 11th. April 2011, April 9th, 2011. So she was 1 when I left.
And we lived in Louisiana, correct?
Did we live in Louisiana? Yes, we lived in Louisiana with my first duty station.
Okay. Is that the same place where you go travel backwards and forth now?
My sister is stationed there, and I go visit my sister. Correct.
Okay. Do your kids enjoy going?
Yeah, they do. Before we came back, after Anaya had the accident with the water, I said, "Are you guys ready to go?" They said, "No, Mama, we want to stay. We're having so much fun." I'm like, "It's time to go, guys. We need to go." So you're gonna go see your daddy in a little bit. And so that's when they said, "Okay," but they didn't want to leave. They begged me to stay, especially my son. He
Do
was
I love my
the main one.
do dad show love to his daughter?
Yes, you love your kids. I believe you love them.
You think if given the chance, you think I'll take both of them if I was able to?
If given the chance, would you take both of them? No, I
Mhm.
believe you just wanted BJ. You didn't
I'm
really
asking you
care
now,
about
just
having both of them. I don't know what you would do.
okay.
I believe you just want BJ, and give me Anaya. That's what I believe. But
All right, that's it.
All right, Ms. Mercer, anything further from this witness?
Nothing, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Mercer, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, I would like to call Mr. Humphrey, please.
He was in the waiting room, but now he's not there again. He's pulled out. So all I have is Deandrea in the waiting room.
I'd like to call Deandrea, Your Honor.
All right. All right, ma'am, if you would please unmute and get your video going. You've been called as the next witness. Or you may proceed.
Deandrea, can you state your full name for the court, please?
Deandrea Smith.
And how do you know these parties?
I'm married to Brandon's brother, Chris.
And have you had an opportunity to witness Chrislyn Smith parenting with her children?
Yes, I have.
How would you describe her relationship with her children?
She's a loving mother who cares about her kids.
And have you had an opportunity to observe Brandon Smith with his kids?
Yes, I have.
And what is his relationship with the children?
From what I've witnessed, he's there for them.
Is there anything about Mr. Smith's behavior in the last, let's say, 24 months that concerns you with his ability to parent?
Yeah, there is.
Can you describe that for the court?
A few months ago, my husband got a phone call from his mom, Brandon's mom, and it was about Brandon. And at the time, Brandon was dating a girl named Mercedes. And So anyways, the call was about that they couldn't find Brandon, and the girlfriend had told Brandon's mom that he was strung out on drugs, and she was looking for him. So my husband left our house around probably 10 or 11 that night, and he was gone till about 3 o'clock in the morning with Brandon's mom looking for Chris. I'm sorry, yeah, looking for Brandon with my husband Chris.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, I'm done.
If you were called upon at this moment to say who the children should go with as a primary parent, do you have an opinion?
Yeah, given the history of the families, just things that have gone on within the family circle, I would choose Chrislyn.
That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Mr. Smith,
You're
your
welcome.
witness.
Deandrea, do you remember the story you told me about Chrislyn that got us up to this point right now? Infidelity, the whole story.
Okay.
Do you remember it?
I recall, yes.
How did that happen? Did I call you or did you call me?
I didn't call you. I was actually talking to my husband. My
Right.
husband called you.
Did I tell him to put you on the phone or did you get on the phone yourself?
Your brother was on the phone with you.
Right. Basically, I'm asking, did you offer what you told me or did I squeeze it out of you some kind of way?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. How is this relevant to the custody case?
Ma'am, you're not making objections. The lawyers will make objections. So you just need to answer the question if there's no objection.
Okay, well, so the conversation was between my husband and I, and your brother called you. And y'all had a conversation.
And what was said from you?
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained. She can't say what she said to her husband.
No, to me.
Only-
What did you say to me on the phone? Judge, can you guys hear?
No, she's frozen up, it looks like. And what is Deandrea's last name? Is it Smith?
Yeah.
Ms. Smith, can you hear us? All right, we're going to go off the record for a second. We've lost the witness. I'm going to give you all
Can you
time
hear me?
updates. I'm going to,
Yeah.
oh, there she's back. Hold on. We're not on the record. I'm going to give the parties and lawyers time updates just so they know. Ms. Mercer, you have 17 minutes. Mr. Smith, you have 12 minutes. The court's back on the record. We're going to continue where we left off when we lost the witness, Deandrea Smith. She's back with us. We're on the cross-examination of her by Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, you may proceed.
Could you tell me any insight on what you told me about Chrislyn?
Objection.
I never
relevant.
talked to you. I talked to your brother.
So you never talked on the phone and told me anything about Chrislyn?
Your brother told you, and you were on speakerphone.
You said something with the Mercedes situation. What was the finding in that situation?
They found you at your friend's house, but that was all that I heard.
Did I lose my job or anything? Did I miss a day of work?
Never heard anything like that.
All right. Do you remember when I came to your house about a month or so ago? Do you remember what you said about Chrislyn?
No, I don't recall.
As far as her mothering skills, as far as like things that's going on and what she
I don't
should do.
recall.
Do you feel like you're playing both sides?
Action
do not.
badgering the witness.
Sustained. You can rephrase that question, sir.
Do you feel like you're giving information, both negative and positive, to both sides?
I would like to
I can't hear anything.
For the record, we're having trouble with the witness again. We're going to go off the record. Ms. Smith, when you have your connection back, we'll finish up with you.
Judge,
Yes, we're off the record, but yes,
Okay.
sir.
I sent in a request to the coordinator so that my son can speak to the judge in the chambers, but it was with the other judge, so I don't know
The
how.
the judge that's here in the hearing is the one that would confer with the child, but we'll address that needs to be on the record. So we'll address that in just a minute.
Okay,
When we get, what we'll do is we're going to finish with this witness because she's obviously having connection problems and I want to get her done because everybody else seems to have a pretty good connection.
okay,
And then once that's done, I'm going to let Ms. Mercer continue until she's done calling witnesses, and then we can take up that request of yours in a minute. Do y'all want to try to text Ms. Smith and see if she's trying to log back in? But while we are waiting for that, along those lines, if there is a request for the court to confer with a child that's 12 years of age or older,
yes, sir.
it is mandatory on me under the code to interview the child that is over 12. It's discretionary for younger kids. So both sides would be allowed to submit a list of topics that you would like for me to discuss with the child. You don't have to do that, but if you want to, because after hearing evidence, I have a pretty good idea for the kinds of questions that I need to ask the child. But I'm more than happy to ask questions about topics that you want to send to the court. So what we'll do is if there's a request made for me to confer, I'll set that up quickly, maybe tomorrow if we can. And
Okay.
then have y'all back and we'll do a ruling after I confer with the child. But y'all will need to email those topics to the court coordinator.
All right.
And I'll get y'all
Is it-
both.
is it
y'all
Janie?
both have- Yes, you send those questions or topics to Janie.
Your Honor, my only issue with that request would be that in order to get a full picture, even though Anaya is under the age of 12, I believe the court would need to talk to both of the children because I believe that the son is definitely had I'm going to use the word brainwashing over the summer. And so just for a fair picture of what has happened in any events that you might ask, I think that you need to talk to both of them.
Well,
And that's what I would
And
request.
Judge, for the record, my son will tell you that I stay on him to obey his mom and everything.
Yeah, no,
and every
we don't, look, I don't want to get into, want to get into that yet because we're not on the record, but I can just tell you this. We'll take that argument up on the record. I typically like to keep kids away from the courtroom and away from
Correct.
judges if I can, but I understand that certain things are mandatory on the court. And so I certainly will interview him.
Thank you.
But that being said, a lot of times if I do interview an older sibling, even though it may be discretionary on me, a lot of times I will bring the younger sibling in, not together, but I interview them separately and I let them have an opinion as well. But, and none of those are binding on the court.
Right.
What either kid says to the judge is not necessarily binding on me. But Ms. Mercer, it depends on how old the child is. And so we're going to take that argument up once we get done with this witness. I have an iPhone in the waiting room. I'm hoping that's Ms. Smith. Oh, there we go. All right, the court's back on the record. We're going to do the cross-examination again of Ms. Smith. Mr. Smith, you may proceed.
Gosh, what was that? Are you and my brother going through situations right now, troubled times?
We are.
So it's safe to say this could be retaliation.
It's not retaliation.
How many times on your account have you addressed me as a good dad? To my face.
I don't recall how many times.
But you have or you haven't?
Have I called you a good dad?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I have.
When your son was acting out about 6 months ago, maybe longer, maybe 8 months ago, who did you call to come down and help you?
I'm sorry, this is like 2 or 3 years back.
Objection relevance, Your Honor.
Overruled. You may answer that, ma'am. Who did you call 2 or 3 years ago when you had issues with a child?
The initial call was to his mother.
And who did you call next?
I called you. Oh, sorry, these lights are automatic.
Did we rectify the situation or did it get worse?
No, we were able to get it under control.
Okay. That's all I have.
Ms. Mercer, anything further from this witness?
Nothing, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Smith, thank you for coming in today. You're excused.
Thank you, Ms. Smith.
You're welcome.
All right, Ms. Mercer, you may call your next witness.
I'd like to call Mr. Humphrey, if he's in the waiting room.
He's not. I have nobody in the waiting room. So if y'all want to text him, you can and see if you can get him here. But he's not in the waiting room and he hadn't been for some time.
I text him.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to call Mr. Smith.
Oh, so Mr. Humphrey's not going to be available? Because I was going to say if he's coming and y'all want to call him, I normally take an afternoon break. And we've been going for a couple hours and I just think everybody needs about 5 or 10 minutes to stretch their legs and get water or whatever they need to do. So if you want a break for Mr. Humphrey, we'll do that, but we're also pretty close to finishing the hearing. So if y'all want to continue and just call Mr. Smith, we can do that as well.
If we could take a break.
All right, we'll do that. We're going to take a 10-minute break. We'll resume at 3:41. We're going off the record. Yes, I still don't see Mr. Humphrey in the waiting room.
Your Honor, I think that we've decided with the few minutes that we have left that we would just like to move on.
Okay. Court's back on the record in the Smith matter. Ms. DeShazer, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Judge. The petitioner would like to call Brandon Smith.
All right, Mr. Smith, you're being called as an adverse witness. What that means is Ms. Mercer is going to be allowed to ask you questions that are leading. And so a lot of her questions may call for a yes or no response or for a simple short answer. And it's very important that you listen just to her questions and only answer the question that's asked. You're going to get an opportunity later to explain your answers when it's your turn to testify, which is coming up as soon as she gets done asking you questions. Okay?
Right. Yes, sir.
Ms. Mercer, you may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, can you move your camera to the left and to the right of you? Earlier in the, thank you. Earlier in the testimony, you were looking to your left. Was your son in the room with you while you were during this hearing?
No, ma'am.
And have you ever had your son with you during while you're talking about any type of anything to do with this litigation? Have you ever said that in front of the kids?
No, ma'am.
So when you text your son this weekend and said that you thought that you should be able to talk to him anytime between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m., was that talking to him about the litigation?
No, ma'am.
How is it that your son would know when you had the rights to talk to him?
He doesn't know.
Why would you text him that?
Because I'm sure mom would grab the phone.
Okay. So you did text your son on his phone about things involving the litigation?
No, ma'am. Again, I just said 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. It was nothing about the litigation.
So you said, I believe you said, correct me if I'm wrong, I have the right to talk to you anytime between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. So where are you?
Let me read the text so I'll know for sure.
Okay.
I thought you were supposed to be reached.
So did you, so answer the question, did you or did you not indicate to your son that you had litigation rights between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. to contact him?
Not prior. This was just the only he knows nothing about it.
Did you text your son about your rights to talk to him?
No.
So you're telling this court that you've never talked to your son about anything to do with this litigation?
As far as he's going to get the chance to talk to the judge. That's all I said.
So you've never told him anything that his mother said?
No.
He's never heard anything that Chrislyn has said with regard to the litigation?
I don't know what he's heard. I don't know what he's heard Chrislyn said.
Have you ever admitted to anyone that your son was in the room with you during discussions of litigation?
Excuse me?
Mr. Smith, have you told your son what he should tell the court if he wants to live with you?
No, ma'am.
Has your mother told your son what to say if he should want to stay with you?
No, ma'am.
Do you believe that your daughter wants to live with you primarily?
I think she wants to stay with mom.
And over the summer, did you do anything at all with her extracurricular activities?
Yes, we work out all the time. We go skating every Tuesday and Thursday.
So skating is her extracurricular activity?
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Smith?
Yes, ma'am.
So she is that just for fun, or is she going to be a skater?
Who knows? Dad is. I skate.
So how many lessons did she get, Mr. Smith?
Like I said, we don't miss a Thursday or Tuesday. So
So my question to you is, did your daughter get skating lessons while in your care this summer?
of course,
Who was her teacher?
one of my friends that has skating classes there,
What is your friend's name?
Gerald. I don't know what his last name is, but he's in a group with us, and he teaches women, he teaches older people, and he's been working with my daughter.
How many lessons did she get, Mr. Smith?
I would say since she was only there for a month with me, you do that times 2, so I'll say about 6. But for hours, because we go at 1 and we leave at 9 p.m.
And who all skating, Mr. Smith?
Me, my brother, my son, and my daughter.
And so did your son have extracurricular activities this summer?
Yes, he does.
And so you're saying that Miss Smith would be a good primary parent for your daughter?
If the courts decide so, but I'd love to have her.
Are you saying that Miss Smith should be the primary parent for your daughter?
I'd love to have her.
I'm asking you this question, yes or no? Do you believe that Miss Smith should be
No,
the primary
no,
parent for your
No,
daughter?
no.
And she should come with you even though she doesn't want to?
Who says she
That
doesn't
was-
want to?
Well, you said that she'd rather stay with her mom. I believe you just testified to that, Mr. Smith. Isn't that true?
I said, I believe. That's why I took her back. There was no pressure. Like you said earlier, pressured. I wasn't pressured at all. I took her back after 1 month on my own merit.
Mr. Smith, have you ever pulled out Miss Smith's hair?
No,
Have you ever assaulted Miss Smith in front of your daughter?
no, I have not.
So if your daughter were to testify differently or talk to the judge and say something differently, is your daughter a liar?
If she does, then she's a liar. Yes, ma'am.
So this incident with regard to some sort of incident with regard to a bar, that's nothing that you have personal knowledge of, is it?
Just told by my kids.
Were you there? Do you have personal knowledge about Miss Smith being at a bar whilst the kids were at home by themselves? Were you there personally?
I've been FaceTimes. Yeah, I've been FaceTime. Yes, ma'am.
So you were there personally?
I just said I've been FaceTimed. I wasn't at her house. No, I wasn't.
So yes or no? Were you at the bar? Did you see Miss Smith leaving at the bar? Did you ever see that?
No.
So you FaceTime with your children and you were
Mhm.
FaceTime in a room with the children, correct?
While they walked around the house, yeah.
Okay.
Mom came home and she called
Okay.
her. She called.
Objection non-responsive after yes.
Sustain.
Mr. Smith, what drugs were you strung out on a couple of months ago?
Never strung out on drugs, ma'am.
And are you denying that you ever pushed Miss Smith off of, and when she broke her hip? Are you denying that?
I'm denying that.
So you've never pushed her off of any kind of porch, and she's
No,
never been
ma'am.
injured because of you?
No, ma'am.
She's just making that up.
That was a car wreck. Yes, ma'am.
So she just-
it's on the state record in Corsicana.
So
And she got crutches.
if she says that you assaulted her at
Mhm.
any time, that's just completely made up about you.
Completely made up. In 15, 17 years, there's no way that the cops wouldn't be called at one of these times.
Mr. Smith, last year,
Mhm.
did you have your children during the week while they went to school?
Last year, did I have them during the week? No, mom didn't let me.
So the answer to that is no.
Mom didn't let me.
No, the answer to that is just no, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, COVID. She said COVID. So I mean,
Okay.
I just try to respect the guidelines, man.
Yes or no, sir? Did you have your children during the week, during the school year of 2020 to 2021? Yes or no?
No, not during the school year. No. So they couldn't have been late on.
And what was their final grades in May of 2021? What was the final grades?
They weren't A's and B's. I don't know. I have them on my email because I get every progress report email to me. So they weren't
So-
A's and B's.
So you do not know what the grades were.
They're on my email, ma'am, my work email.
I'm asking you right now, do you know, sitting here as a concerned and involved parent, do you know what their grades were that they end the school year with?
C's and D's.
And so do you have any proof of C's and D's?
Like I said, on my email, ma'am.
So if the judge is to ask the kids what their grades were at the end of the school year, do you believe they're going to tell him C's and D's?
They may not. I mean, they're kids.
So you think they're going to lie to
But-
the judge?
I know the truth is that they're on paper.
Mr. Smith,
Uh-huh.
are you telling, or yes or no? If the judge asked the children if they made C's or D's to end the school year,
I don't know.
are they going to lie?
I don't know.
So if they say they made A's and B's to end the school year, is that a lie?
I don't know.
So you don't know what their ending school.
I don't know
grades
what
were.
they would say. You're asking me to tell you what they would say. I can't tell
No,
you.
no, sir. No, let me be clear. If your children
Mhm.
tell the judge that they ended the school year with A's and B's, is that a lie?
That's a lie.
What did you do last year to help out with their grades?
I projects, whatever they brought to me, whatever I was able to do on the little weekends or whenever mom allowed me to get the kids. But just to keep down conflict and keep down arguments, I tried to abide by whatever agreement we were doing and tried to be cordial, my best that I could. But I mean, I didn't know she had a lot of things that she was hiding and trying to, like you say, brainwash them. And I mean, that's why
Mr. Smith, let me ask you a specific question. What was what's the name of Brandon's English teacher this last year?
It was online. It was COVID. So I mean, I really don't. It was digital.
Okay, so you don't know who his English teacher was this past
No,
year?
ma'am. I didn't visit him or anything. But the
Okay.
last 4 years, I can tell you.
Okay, so your daughter, can you tell me who her math teacher was this past year?
I'm sure it was Miss Williams.
But you don't know?
Like I said, same scenario. It was COVID, so it was a little difficult. I work in the school district, so I can tell you it's a little different.
So did your children advance to the next grade this past year?
They did, like majority of the kids. They kind of kicked
So
the can
did you-
down a little.
So they did. The
They
answer is
advanced.
yes. Yes.
The answer is yes,
Um,
but it wasn't A's and B's.
so did you get them tutoring when you saw that their grades were suffering?
I tried to tutor them myself because, like I said, it's a difficult time. You can't
Objection
just,
non-responsive.
Sustained after I tried to tutor him myself.
So you heard their aunt testify that that Anaya was on the AB honor roll last year. Was that untrue?
yes, that's untrue.
And you would know, but she wouldn't. Is that true?
That's definitely true.
So if your daughter was on the AB honor roll, why would you not know that?
Excuse me? I
So-
said,
so-
I would know. She wouldn't know, I said.
So you absolutely know she was never on the AB honor roll. Your daughter's never made the AB honor roll, ever.
This previous year?
Yes, this
No.
previous year.
No, not with the grades I saw.
Mr. Smith, isn't it true that over the past two and a half months that you have been pressing your son to come live with you?
No,
Isn't it true that over the last 2.5 months that you did not allow your son to visit with his mother in person at all?
no.
What day did you allow your son to go visit with his mother prior to Friday of last week?
July 6th, I want to say. And mom set an agreement to be at home so that we could bring Brandon by to see her. When we came by for Brandon to see her and visit her before SeaWorld, Mom disappeared and grandma was the only person there. And we had no way of getting in touch with her, figuring out what I thought she really wanted to see it, even this weekend. I mean,
July the 6th, Mr. Smith? Is that the date?
let me double check right now.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to pass this witness, and I'd like to recall Ms. Smith.
Yeah, you have 2
as a-
minutes, so hold on, but Mr. Smith gets to give me any rebuttal he'd like to give. So Mr. Smith, you have 8 minutes left. Ms. Mercer, you have 2 minutes left. Mr. Smith, you can, now that she's passed you as a witness, you can tell me what you'd like to tell me now, or you can wait until she finishes her 2 minutes, and when she rests, you can present your case, your 8 minutes, when in your case in chief. So would you like to tell me what you want to tell me now, or do you want to wait until she finishes with her last witness?
Yes, sir. I'll save.
Okay. All right, you have 8 minutes. You may proceed.
Ms. Smith?
Oh, no, wait. I thought Mr. Smith wanted to testify now. Is that correct?
No, I'll save my time.
Oh, you'll save it. Okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. Sorry about that, Ms. Mercer. All right, Ms. Mercer. Oh, we just lost Mr. Smith. We're going to go off the record for a second.
We need the July the 6th.
Sorry about that, Judge.
No problem. We're going to get back on the record. Court's back on the record, and Mr. Smith's decided he will give his testimony after petitioner rest. So Ms. Mercer, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Judge. I'd like to recall Chrislyn Smith.
Okay.
Ms. Smith, were you ever given an opportunity to see your son during the summer of 2021?
I asked his sister because she reached out to me. And so I said, hey, can I have a conversation with you? She said, do you mind if I see BJ? Because I haven't seen him the whole summer. She said she will see. She don't know what time dad's going to come. And so when she told me, yes, she would bring him with her, it was going to be for the Thursday. They rescheduled it. They would never, they didn't leave that Thursday. They left that Saturday morning. The Saturday morning is when they left. And so I said, well, is BJ going to be with you? She said she didn't know. And so while I was out running errands, she was on her way to the house. She said, hey, where are you at? I said, I'm out running errands. I'm not close to the house. I said, but my mother is there and she can get BJ. But the day that we initially set for me to see him, not by Brandon because he wasn't going to be there. It was by his sister because me and her were talking and she was going to pick Anaya up so that she can go with him to SeaWorld. She said that she would see if she can bring BJ. And so she didn't come to Thursday or Friday. She said they were going to leave on Saturday. I was out running errands. she didn't know what time she was going to come. And so I was gone. And so when she came to the house, my mother was there with Brandon, and then she let him leave.
So did you get to see Brandon?
I didn't get to see Brandon. No, ma'am.
Did you ask to see Brandon over and over and over again?
I did. I asked his dad if I could. I'm sorry. It's okay. We'll reschedule it, baby. I'm doing this. You have to close the door and go in your room. She missed gymnastics for today. But
So
I
did you offer up a string of screenshots of text messages where you're asking you're asking Brandon to see the child all during the month of June and the month of July?
yes, ma'am. I begged him to see him. He said he will ask BJ and see what he said. I said, I'm his mother. I said, I'm withholding from you. He said, well, I'm not going to make him see you. And I said, I really miss him terribly. And I asked him if we could meet at Walmart on several occasions for an hour.
Let me ask you one more question.
Yes, I'm sorry.
You've been in this proceeding, have you not?
Yes,
Do you believe that your son was in the room with Brandon during this hearing?
I do. I believe that he was in the room with him.
All right, Ms. Mercer, you're out of time.
Yes,
That
witness.
completes the movements case. We're going to now move to Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, be aware you just have 8 minutes, but go ahead and tell me what you'd like to tell me. If you hear an objection from Ms. Mercer, please stop talking. Don't try to finish your sentence until I have an opportunity to rule on the objection. You may proceed.
Am I talking to the witness or I'm talking
No,
directly?
you're just going to basically talk in what we call the narrative. You're going to tell me what you'd like to tell me, like you were testifying.
Okay.
Just tell me what you want to tell me.
Okay. Like I said, I made plenty of attempts, to be cordial with the witness with my ex-wife for like years. I tried years and years of me I would drive all the way to their house, to get them and drop them off. Like I never made her drive to Katy. I never made her drive anywhere. Like if there's a meeting spot that she wanted to meet at, a Walmart or night, I would make sure that I made my end of the bargain. If her car was broke, when her car was broke down and she had no way to bring them, that's the only way I know where she lives at, because she pretty much begged me like, all right, come on, just, it doesn't matter. I was like, no, well, I don't want to come over there because I don't want to cause a conflict of interest. And she forced me pretty much to come over there. And that's how I start, coming all the way down there. As far as me keeping the kids away, I know of plenty of weeks and months that she's strong-armed the kids and kept them away months on end throughout the pregnancy. The kids, like I said, 9 whole months with me not seeing someone, that just lets you know that they were away from me for a long time. And I mean, just to keep down confusion and I bought the kids 2 cell phones, 2 sets of cell phones each. And just so we can stay in touch, just so I can see their face, so I can talk to them. And like I said, there's been times where they've been left alone and been scared and wanted to have numbers to call. And I always try to sneak my phone number into them, or, write it down on a piece of paper and put it in a wallet or something, so that they're able to call me in case they're walking around, like Brandon said, at like 3 and 4 in the morning.
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained. Don't tell me what your son or daughter said.
You're right.
You continue.
And I just always wanted to be there just in case, because I know of plenty of situations that my ex-wife told me about that she's grew up in. So just going from her personal past and these personal stories that she's grown up in, I knew for sure that I did not want my kids to grow up feeling mistreated, feeling neglected, feeling like nobody cared. And I do care. I care a lot. I'm always here for my kids, whatever they ask for, whenever they need me, I'm always here for them. Just some of the testimonies today just threw me for a loop, because everybody know how hands-on I am as a dad. And I mean, I understand she's starting a new life and, everything's new. So I did try to give some space, because I don't want to be that person. But as far as like respecting the boundaries and reaching out or sending text messages that I didn't send into the court, because honestly, I'm representing myself and I don't know much about the situation. But there's a lot of text messages that will conclude and fix up the whole story. It won't seem so splattered. But like I said, as far as my kids, I do want my kids. I want Anaya, but I don't want to have her like a prisoner here and in a place where she don't want to be, you know. And as far as my son, he really wants to stay with me. And he said,
Objection, hearsay.
"Oh, I'm sorry.
Sustained.
But as far as my son, I feel like he's in a more stable, a safe environment where we talk. I have him set up for counseling with the 7 Cups online. You know, I pay for the program so that he can talk to his peers. He seemed a little depressed and just seemed, you know, like nobody wants him, especially, he said, since the new baby. Oh, I'm sorry.
Objection, hearsay.
Sorry
Sustained.
about that.
It's okay.
And like I said, I just want to show my kids that I'm going to be here to fight for them no matter what. And, you know, my kids grew up in the church. Like, they have that bond because we have that bond. You know, they love being with me because there's no fighting and bickering. Over there, there's a lot of fighting and bickering and cops called all the time. Here is never like that. It's never like that. So, I mean, I'm just here to just be a stand-up. I mean, and like I said, I work in the school district with kids my son's age for the last 7 years, and right here in LCISD. And never had a problem. I'm always pushing, striving kids to get to bring out the best of them, basically. And I use my own life as a tool. That's why I said I'm definitely transparent, and anything I've done can be in the forefronts because I do nothing negative to anyone, and I apologize quickly. So, like I said, I'm just here to fight for my kids.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. All right, when we were off the record, there was a comment made by Mr. Smith that he had requested previously at a hearing to have the court confer with Brandon, the child that's 12 years of age. And so I want to address those issues because Ms. Mercer then said, well, if the son's getting interviewed by the court, that she would like to have the daughter interviewed as well. So I'm going to give you each of you just about 1 minute to argue that. Mr. Smith, is it your request that the court confer with Brandon before making a decision in this case?
Yes, sir.
All right, and how do you feel about the court also interviewing your daughter?
I'm totally okay with that.
All right, Ms. Mercer, it's my understanding that Mr. Smith has made a request for the court to confer with Brandon, which is mandatory on the court. So I want to go ahead and get the scheduling of that, but are you requesting on behalf of your client that I interview the daughter as well?
I am, Your Honor, and I haven't seen any request. I can tell you that at the previous hearing, the issue was not that he had made a request, but that he had actually brought the child to court. So I don't know that he actually made a formal request, but that he was reprimanded for bringing the child into court. So, if the question is, if the court wants to talk to the son, would I like the daughter to be there as well? I think that the court does need to speak to both, if that's the decision of the court.
Yeah, and I know that just based on the fact that I've got one party that's not represented by counsel, and I can ask for the interviews sua sponte. The court can just say, I want to interview the children. I do think it would be best to interview both kids. There is some disagreement as far as where we are, as you know, about like grades, for example. Those are things that apparently the parents can't agree on for the most part, which is something that the court can interview the kids and find out what the kids think on certain topics. But that being said, I need to arrange that. I would like to do it quickly because judges, we hear stuff every single day. Like I had a totally different hearing right before I started Jaws. And if we wait too long, then everything's not as fresh in my brain. So I would like to interview the children this week. I can do tomorrow afternoon if there's any chance. Are they already in school? They in Fort Benicia? They're Lamar Consolidated. So they're not in school yet.
Yeah, I have another week.
Okay, so can we transport them to the courthouse tomorrow to be interviewed?
Yes, sir.
Because the child interviews will mask up. I'll bring them into chambers, and I do those in chambers. I could do it in the courtroom because it's a little bigger and we can space out even more. But I don't find that they do very well on Zoom, and I like to be able to see the child when I'm interviewing them. So
What time?
why don't we do, what time works for y'all tomorrow afternoon? Are the kids is daughter with you, mom, and son
Yes.
with you, dad? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we're going to need to coordinate that. Mom, what time can you get them or get her here tomorrow?
Can we do 1? I
Okay.
know at 5, well, from 5, she missed her gymnastics today. I'll have to reschedule. Tomorrow is from 5 to 6. So anytime before that.
Yeah. You know, kids will typically talk for about 15 or 20 minutes at
Okay.
the most. It's not going to be it's not going to be like today where it takes me all afternoon. My guess is I'll be happy if I get good 10 minutes out of both of them.
Yeah.
But and then Mr. Smith, same question to you. Can you get BJ here at like 1:30 tomorrow? Is there
Yes,
any
sir, I
chance you
can.
do that? All right, let's do that. Let's do daughter. We'll do daughter at 1 and son at 1:30. And then what I'll
Okay.
do is I'd like to go ahead and give y'all a ruling tomorrow because I know everybody wants kind of finality. I know y'all, it's not a final trial, but at least it will give y'all some certainty as to how this next school year is going to look. So can we do, Mr. Smith, how far away from the courthouse do you live?
About, like I said, about 40 minutes from out there.
40 minutes?
Yeah, 30, 40 minutes.
Okay. So if I finish with Brandon at say 2 to be safe. So Miss Mercer, is any chance you could get back on Zoom tomorrow at say 4 p.m. and I could give you my ruling at 4 p.m. tomorrow?
I'll be here, Judge.
All right, let's do that. Y'all can come on directly into my Zoom at 4 p.m. tomorrow, and I'll give you my ruling at that time. Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank
If
you,
you
Judge.
want, and one last thing before we get off the record, if either side wants to submit a list of topics or questions to the court, you can do that. Just email Janie and she'll print those out and I'll review those. Just if you can get those to me by like noon tomorrow, that way I have some time to look at them before I actually interview the children.
All right.
All right. I want to thank both sides. Y'all did a very good job presenting your case. And I can tell you that I really hope that mom and dad, anytime you come into court, it makes it a lot harder to co-parent because each side feels like they get attacked by the other side and brought up their worst 5 days of being a dad and their worst 5 days of being a mom. And I understand that's how this process works out. But I can tell you for both those kids, from doing this for a really long time, it will be a lot better if the two of you can bury that stuff and just focus on co-parenting with each other. And don't look at it as winning or losing. Look at it as co-parenting. You're both a huge part of these children's lives, and they are blessed to have a mom and a dad. I wish I had had a dad growing up that was involved in my life, and I didn't really have that. So, and I'm not saying I didn't have a dad. I have a dad, and we work on that relationship now. But as a kid growing up, I would have loved to have had a dad that would have coached me in a sport. And so this child is these children are blessed to have a loving mom and a loving dad that are both active. And we don't always get to see that, or we don't see that very often in my position. So there's a lot of things that y'all can build on. These kids have a bright future ahead of them. They're gorgeous kids from the pictures that you showed me.
Thanks.
And y'all have a lot to be thankful for. So please take the ruling tomorrow, whoever feels like they prevailed, just take that in a way that is graceful to the other side, and the side that doesn't prevail, understand that this court's not stripping away parental rights. This court's just saying, 54% of the year they're going to be with one parent, and 46% of the year they're going to be with another parent. It's not a big difference in the state law as far as what each parent gets. That being said, I did not get any evidence from either side about income. I didn't get a financial information statement from either side. So if dad prevails and wants child support from mom, I don't have any evidence of what mom makes. If mom prevails and dad's ordered to pay child support, I don't have any income evidence from dad that was presented to the court. I will tell y'all this, if y'all each want 30 seconds or a minute to reopen, to put on just what you do for a living and what you make, those are things that the court really normally wants to hear. And so if y'all want to do that, I will allow y'all both the opportunity to do that. But if both sides don't agree to that, then we'll just I'll just make a ruling based on what I've heard.
Yes, Your Honor, I would like for both sides to be able to put on 1 minute worth of testimony. And I would also offer to the court that a financial information statement for Ms. Smith was actually presented to the court on the 6th day of August.
Okay, I saw that it looked like on the exhibit list, there was a P20 that was a financial information statement, but I don't think P20 came in. And then Mr. Smith, both sides are supposed to provide financial information statements prior to a hearing under the local rules, but
Okay.
I didn't get that from either side. So and I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's something I kind of need as a judge to hear that so that I can make a fair decision on the case. So do you have any objection to both of y'all putting on about 30 seconds to 60 seconds of testimony about what each side does and approximately what they make?
No, I have not.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do this. Ms. Smith, if you'll tell me what you do and what you earn for a living annually or monthly, either way, but just what do you gross per year and what do you do for a living?
Okay, I work for Fort Bend ISD, and I work with autistic kids and kids with the disadvantage. I model to the teacher how to deal with them and how to work with them in curbing their behavior. And I make about $2,000 a month.
That's your gross is $2,000 a month, or that's what you bring home?
That's what I bring home.
Okay. Mr. Smith, same question to you. I know you work for the district, but that's all I got.
Yeah, I work for Lamar Consolidated Reading Junior High. I make about $1,850, $1,875 a month. Bring home.
That's what you bring home?
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah.
And are you a teacher there at Reading?
I'm a paraprofessional.
Oh, paraprofessional. Okay.
Yeah, and coach.
Okay. All right. Thank you both. That completes this portion of the hearing. We'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. for the court's ruling. Thank you.